What up, C words and F words? Welcome to another illustrious episode of the Bresh Crew Podcast, the one and only, the only of its kind. Your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. You just don't know it yet. I am your humble, gracious, grateful. Nah, I can't steal that. I'm your host, Marc Sr.
Who's that from?
I think that's Joe.
Stop listening to Joe.
Yeah.
We can't steal Joe's shit.
Yeah.
He's earned it. Mood God.
I'm Marc Sr. along with my co-host and partner in crime, Dilly Bars, Grant. Talk to people.
Here.
How you living?
I'm good. I'm fresh clothes now. Got some fresh gear.
Yeah.
I'm living good. We got a lot to talk about on this episode. It's gonna get serious at times. For a little change of pace.
I know people didn't know we were capable of that.
No one knows we're capable
Conducting
of that.
ourselves like professionals and shit.
I think it's got to be done. I think this is, I don't know about you, I think this is going to be the most listened to podcast of all time, perhaps. Maybe ever.
Of all time.
I think people need to hear some stuff.
It's already the greatest thing that ever happened. We haven't even uploaded it yet.
We haven't uploaded it. I know it's good. See the library behind me? I've been reading. Look at all those books. Dummy smart.
Where you want to start?
How's school?
School is...
No more vacation.
It's okay, man. Like, it's pretty much what I expected. I mean, like, half of my shit is online now. Like, everything that they could convert to online classes, they're going to do. So we got some lectures and whatever. Everything's shortened up. I mean, the radio class and stuff, obviously, got to do in there. They moved everything around. So, like, shit is done in different studios now. Like, that one studio where we recorded the pod, it's different jobs in that one now. And, like, even waiting to get in the class, you gotta like wait outside in the area, and
that's whack, son.
But first off, when you get to the school, we gotta like scan in with our car. We gotta fill in this fucking thing every day that we're supposed to be in class, and we're only allowed on campus if we have a class that day and that time, because they just want you in and out. That's it.
Can't they do that like on an app or something, or you literally seriously have to sign it every time?
No, they have it through like the school apps called Blackboard. Where
everyone knows Blackboard.
Yeah.
Who's not white trash and actually went to secondary.
So we have a daily health screen that we fill in every day. Oh, do you have a headache? Oh, do you got the sniffles? You shitting through the eye of a needle? No. Oh, okay. Have you been around somebody that has COVID? No. Okay, then you're good to go. And then you just go, and then you scan in your student card to make sure it's good, and then you go and you got to scan your way out, and basically once your class is done, you got to get the fuck out of there. You can't be hanging out in the hallways. They're pretty strict. I guess the goal is, they said they want to keep it at an absolute maximum of 3,000 students in the school per week, throughout the entire week.
Sounds like a lot. Oh, Monday to Friday. Okay.
Yeah, like that's the total for the week.
Yeah.
Not each day. Each day is shit, I don't know, way less than that. You're walking through the halls, there's nobody there.
Divided by 5, yeah. Whatever it is.
I
don't know.
I haven't seen more than 20 people in the school at once.
Wow. Well, yeah, your class has more than 20, though, doesn't it?
Not at a time. It'd be like...
No,
because we're split up into different schedules.
Right.
So it's like 8 of us in one block, and then, probably another 8 in another. And then there's the film kids that split up the same way. Like, it makes sense. You got to do what you got to do.
But your program is so hands-on. It's hard for me to see you guys learning anything from online, or even showing what you can do from online. Like, it's hard. I don't know how you guys are going to be marked.
Well, basically, we have 2 of our classes are on campus. One of them is like a tech and videography class where we're actually going to be filming some shit. Filming like E&Gs and stand-ups and all that garbage that I'm really sick of fucking doing, but that's beyond the point. And then there's the radio lab where we're doing, rerunning all the different jobs in radio to, rinse and repeat. But yeah, I haven't ran into that parking guy yet that I was bitching about a few months back. So, I mean, that's good. I don't know. Hopefully just took the time off or opted out or something.
He's like, maybe he doesn't feel safe to come back.
Yeah, maybe. He shouldn't. It's like feel fucking safe when you run.
He heard the pod.
He heard the pod. He's like,
heard the aggression.
Man, you know what? Let me just stay home. This guy's way too upset about this.
I was just doing my job. Oh,
We're dealing with a global pandemic. This guy's ready to fucking kill me.
I went to look at houses today in Toronto to like rent to move closer to the city.
No shit.
And I pull up, and so I'm walking up to the house, and the girl who like owns it is out front. I'm like, "Do you want me to wear a mask like when we go through?" First thing she says, "Fuck that. It's a political virus. It's not even real."
Wow.
Right there, my foot was already one way out the door. I was like, okay. And then I saw the rest of it, and it was a fucking piss hole.
Imagine that.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh, fuck. How many idiots out there just like causing a fuss in Walmart or whatever just because they think it's like wearing a mask is taking away my freedom? You understand how fucking retarded y'all sound?
Really retarded. Retarded. Full retard.
Never
definition. That should be the definition of retarded. The people who like
having a meltdown over having to wear a fucking mask in public.
Just watching YouTube conspiracies all day.
Ah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm smart. Just regurgitating like fucking sound bites from fucking Joe Rogan or some fucking weirdo.
Or fucking Alex Jones or whatever.
That's who I meant to say, but I couldn't.
Is that the frogs are gay guy?
Yeah. I was looking for Alex Jones, but couldn't find his name, so I just grabbed on that.
Like, Joe Rogan's.
It happened to be Joe Rogan. Even though I don't think he's
literally done nothing wrong.
No, he's fine.
It's like the most objective guy you could find doing a pod anyway. But yeah, it's been interesting. Obviously, we gotta wear a mask pretty much at all times. Like once we get into our studio, like we get our own pop filters and shit like that we all gotta use and like clean everything off and whatever. Like they're pretty thorough with the whole procedure and shit. It's just. It's about as good as it can be. I mean, they're kind of put in a tough spot, so I can't be all the way mad. I just realized how much I didn't miss everybody when I went back.
You're just like, do you have like suck ups? I don't want you to like single out your classmates.
Not so much.
But what I hated in school was to be like when someone would like raise their hand and ask some like not asking a dumb question, but like, fuck, how do I word this? Like they would ask too many questions, or like there's just always like trying to like show how involved they are, and you're sitting there like why are we listening to this? Like this is a stupid conversation.
Okay, it's some.
But they always have to be involved. Like they can't sit out for a second.
Yeah, it's some of that at times where it's either they'll constantly put their hand up and ask. There are such things as stupid questions, by the way. There are.
Yeah.
But. They'll just constantly keep asking questions to just basically reiterate exactly what was just said, as if they didn't just hear it.
Give me a participation mark. They're just trying to get participation marks.
It's like, so this is so the first step to installing a Sony whatever camera is you gotta tighten up the like whatever the fuck, and then they'll literally go, so you're saying with the Sony camera, the first step to tightening up is doing this, right? And you're like, yeah, that's literally what was just said, and then you see the professor kind of like boil up a little inside. Like, yes.
Are you retarded?
But, yeah, and then the biggest thing, shit that pisses me off the most, is that it's like 15 kids in class. Not so much now because everything's so staggered, but when it was still full classes, and especially in like the online lectures when everybody's there, it's like. It feels like it's like 14 or 15 kids all trying to be the class clown at the same time. So everybody's just piping up with some like mundane, borderline unfunny shit just because they got to get it out. Because they're just so desperate to get the fucking laugh and shit. And like, just trying to, like we're here for like 45 minutes. Just trying to hear this lecture and get the fuck on with my day. But, I don't know.
It's part of it.
I get it. I want to make people laugh too, but for fuck's sakes, man, like just manage your content a little better. And if you're gonna cut in the middle of everything, have some comedic timing and actually be funny. There's not enough self-awareness anymore. People don't realize when they're not funny.
Yeah,
they just keep trying shit.
I don't know if you can teach the timing part.
No, you can't.
I really don't know if you can.
Nah, you can't teach comedic timing. Some people have it, some people don't. It's like teaching. natural athleticism.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you can work on it and develop it and whatever, but it's your ceiling is only so high. When you're,
Yeah.
you know, LeBron James and you're already born with this absurd athleticism, then it's only gonna get better from there. But you're already that much further ahead, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
kind of
found
like
that found that out the hard way. My ceiling's unfortunately a 16-inch vertical. No matter how much I work on it, it's not happening.
16 inch. Ah, shit.
Yeah. So let's get into this shit.
Yeah, you had a very enlightening, interesting, and
I've had many of these
life-changing conversation the other day.
No,
allegedly.
it wasn't even about me. It was just someone else asking me advice for shit, and I don't know. So like, I feel like a lot of people are, no matter what age, even 50, 60-year-olds, are still always like confused, I guess, at what they want to do with their life, and it really fucks with them. And it fucks with everyone, I think, at some point. And I think most people just never really figure it out, and they just chase that, the safe kind of dollar amount that you can live comfortably with or whatever. But I don't think anyone really kind of grasps on what should I do, because you always come to that crossroads at some point. Like, I've been there, and everyone I know has been there, where like, should I do this or should I do this? Maybe it's two things, maybe it's three things, and you just don't know which one to pick because you're afraid if you fail one of them or you pick the wrong thing, then it's just over. It's just over. And that's what this guy was talking to me about. He just didn't know what to. I'm not going to say what he wanted, but it was two drastically different things. One required an education and the other one didn't. And he was basically just torn on what to do. And the one that didn't require an education was probably the safer choice, that you can, and the better benefits in the long run, actually. But this one was like, yeah, you have to take a risk on going back to school. You have to take on some of that debt, but which one do you really want, kind of thing. And it comes down to like, how do you want your life to like pan out? Like, what do you want to look back on and be like, I'm glad I did this? Like, what do you want to be remembered for? Like, how do you want your book to end? How do you want the movie to end? Like, that's kind of what I was trying to preach to him the most.
I don't think people actually really take time to think about that, right? Like they just get so caught up in, I gotta make rent this month and do whatever. Like, they get so caught up in the momentary shit that it's like, I have to take this paycheck. Or they'll make the decision of, say, they go to school for, I mean, I did this myself, but they go to school for the first year of a program or whatever, and then they take a summer job, and then they fall in love with the paycheck, and they're like, this will do for now, and then I'll think about what I want to do, a couple years from now while I'm still young, I can save some money. And like, I went all the way the wrong way with that. But that happens with so many people, that they just get stuck working in some factory or some construction job or whatever it is, because it's like just enough to
they're
doing that, and then they're surprised at how fucking miserable they are 20 years down the line because they haven't accomplished anything. Like, they really haven't done shit with it. It's just,
no one wants to take that step back to kind of figure out what you want. They want to stay relevant. They want to go to fucking Coachella and these parties. They want to buy the newest shit. And you want to have a nice car. You got to have a job to do all these things. But the more shit you buy, the more you can progress there, the further back you're going to have to step back to actually be happy. And I think a lot of people don't take that step back or don't take that time. I had to do it. I was kind of forced into it. But I used to be the most confused about what I wanted to do, and the anxiety I got from that was almost like debilitating in a way. And by any means, like, me and you or whatever haven't quote unquote made it. So a lot of people, whatever made it is, whatever that vague make it is, so because we don't have that dollar sign that you need to make it. But I think it's more than the money you're trying to chase.
So when you were in that point in your life, how long did it actually take you to realize that you weren't well endowed enough to do porn? Because it's a tough thing to accept. But I mean, like, I know there's different categories, it's different kinks and whatever that people are into. But like, at what point did you realize, I might not have enough for this?
It's just the balls, like, your balls ache a lot. They don't tell you that. And you got to go 6 to 8 weeks without even ejaculating sometimes just to get that money shot. You know what I mean? So that was tough for me. And yeah, I don't know. It's not when the girls are like putting on a show. It's not. It's all. It's not. You almost feel bad for them. They're overdoing it.
Ay. But nah, man. Like I get that. It's so many people I ran into. I'm not gonna say the name of this person, but a good friend of ours who is, I feel like, is in a similar stage in their life right now where it's like he's not exactly sure what he wants to do, but he's around such a toxic fucking environment.
That's not
And
a
he's
good
such
start.
he's such an impressionable guy that, like, as
Yeah.
much as we pick on him and shit, like we're really trying to get through to him that, you know, there's another step of like maturity or whatever that you have to take, that you got to start making better decisions and give up some of the things that are
Yeah.
fun right now. But it's like, I don't know, he's still so caught up in the kind of young and dumb phase of his life that he wants to enjoy, and I get it, but like you have to start making better decisions.
Yeah, you
so
got to
that-
surround. Yes, go ahead. Sorry. Okay.
I was just gonna say, just to keep yourself from getting to that point, because he's not at the point of no return yet. He's not. It's so easy to see where it's going.
Yeah, for sure. You can see it a mile away.
And I mean, I've seen it happen with hundreds of fucking people. Like, most of the people I know ended up settling for some bullshit ass job because it was enough to pay the bills, and now they like to pretend they're not miserable, but I know they are, or they're just not as happy as they should be.
No, or they're a cunt to people, and you're like, why is that guy a cunt? And you're like, oh, because he has a lot of regret in his life. Because he took some shitty, safe job that he has no interest in, that pays the bills for this fucking sweet truck, and he drinks. You can't drink away regret with like 30 years of beer. It's not going to work. You're still going to feel regret when you're sober that one morning, that one odd morning. You're still going to feel it. So you gotta chase. You know what you want to do, like, in a way. If you don't write down 10 favorite things you love, then you gotta be realistic. Like, my first choice was basketball, not good enough. Second choice, maybe music, not good enough. So I had to be realistic. Those two are out. And then, like, whatever's left, you gotta be self-aware enough to know, okay, what can I think I can actually be good at that I actually love, and then kind of pick one and just go all in. And then who cares if you fail? Who gives a shit? Like, you can fail at a shitty job that you don't like, and you could also fail at something you love that you're trying to do. So what's the difference? A lot of people lost some shitty job they don't like during this pandemic. That just shows you can fail at that. So if there's a possibility of failing at anything, then why not just choose like the one you want rather than the one you don't want? Like, I don't know. It's a kind of like a no-brainer for me, but I know it's hard to kind of get that in people's heads.
The other shit that's crazy about it is when they do, settle for the mid-tier job or whatever. I've done my fair share of working those jobs too, and I feel like I have the same conversation everywhere I go, where it's like they pick things to be unhappy about. Like they act surprised when things aren't, up to their standards or whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm not getting enough benefits, or I don't get enough time off, or
Get a new
they're
job.
making me do all this and whatever. Yeah. But it's never that simple, right? Like, it's never just.
Oh, I can't.
I can't just leave.
I can't just leave my truck. Look, it's a beautiful truck. No, you can. Sell it. Fucking sell it. Get a shit box.
It's like
Go live with your parents.
Yeah.
Go live with your parents for a year. It's that easy. It is that easy. Life's pretty binary. I don't want to hear anyone complain to me about their job. Like, I don't.
But it's kind of.
It's your own fault.
Yeah.
It's your own fault. Did someone put a gun to your head and say, take this fucking job or I'm going to kill you? No. It didn't happen. Well, maybe if you're in a gang. Might be different, but.
Well, if you're in a gang, you're not working.
You're working.
Most
you're
people.
putting in hours. Putting in hours.
But I mean, you're not, a used car salesman or working at a packaging factory or any shit like that.
No.
You're not stocking shelves at the grocery store. Anyway, I think it's a lot similar to being in a relationship with a shitty spouse that you obviously settled for because of
Yes.
whatever little reason, but then, you get the Stockholm syndrome or whatever. Where it's like, I can't, like, I left my sweater in his car. Like, it'd be some little, you just give all kind of
Yeah.
shitty excuses for staying in that situation
Because it's comfortable.
it might not even be comfortable. It's just you don't think you can do any better because you
You're
already
scared.
settled.
Yeah,
You've already
okay.
set your ceiling so low.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Whereas it could just end up being, whatever next guy you meet, or whatever next girl you meet, whatever next person you meet, turns out to not be shitty, and just like, oh, okay, all I had to do was leave that situation, and it's better over here. But yeah, exactly. It's your fault. You're the one that makes these decisions, and people are just constantly looking for somebody else to blame because they made bad decisions from the start and don't like the fact that they dug themselves a hole.
They did, but
They
you
just don't have accountability.
But they don't have the accountability for sure, and then the, I guess, confidence or kind of belief to get out of that hole that they made. They don't want to take the step back. They don't want to be judged for like being 40 and going back home for a year, or like driving a shitty car or something. Like, they just don't. You'd rather live a terrible, not terrible, but like a less fulfilling life to impress other people, basically, is what it comes down to.
What's the shittiest job you ever had?
I don't know. There was one summer. Well, I was working. I was working a lot that summer. There was one summer where. Actually, now it's probably. Define shittiest. Like the one that I felt the worst doing, or the one that was like the worst. There was the worst kind of environment, or.
I'll rephrase.
Worse.
I'll rephrase because this will lead into something. At what job were you working? Like, was there a point when you were working on a shift at a job and you realized, I'm not staying here. This is what I want to go do. I'm gonna go do it. Like, was there kind of a breakthrough moment while you were on shift?
There was a day. Yeah, I remember the exact day.
Yeah, that's
it was. It was. Yeah, I was plumbing for about 2.5 years. And after the 2-year mark, I switched to another company that was like a unionized company. So like great benefits, way more pay.
Basically, it's so easy. It's so easy to get sucked into a union.
Yeah, so I was there.
Easy.
Yeah, very. So I even like signed like who's gonna get all my benefits if I die and all that shit. Like, I signed everything. I was like, quote unquote, set for life as long as I showed up every day for the next 30 years. And I was there for like a month or two after I signed that stuff, and like every day I remember I was just like, it was like 8 to 4 every day, and as I was working every day I was just thinking about like what I'd rather be doing every day. Like, there was never a moment where I was like, this is fun. Never. I was just like thinking of like, man, like this would be cool to go do this, and it was always kind of the same area I was thinking about, like the same stuff I wanted to do since I was a kid, but just like didn't have the balls to do or whatever. And then one day I was getting dropped off because I carpooled with a guy. I was getting dropped off, and I was just like, looked at him. I didn't even know I was going to do this. I just kind of looked at him. I was like, thanks for everything, man. And he was like, what? Like, yeah, see you Monday, dude. And then I like grabbed my tool bag to take it home, and I never did that because like I'd never wanted to do work outside of my 8 to 4 or whatever because I didn't like it. So why would I do it at home? So I took my tool bag, and he like kind of did a double take at me, and like I just like nodded, and then I closed the door, and I could see like he just looked bewildered, and then I just never went back. And then I think like the next day I tried stand up, and it was the scariest thing ever. But like, yeah, the day I like walked away and like knew I wasn't gonna actually settle, quote unquote settle. There's nothing wrong with plumbing, but for me it was like settling because it wasn't what I wanted to do. The day I like knew I wasn't gonna settle for that was like the biggest weight lifted off. And then obviously there's still this big question mark over here of where the fuck am I headed, but I kind of had a general idea, and then that was kind of the start of this journey. And now, yeah, every day's fun. I don't even know what day it is most times. Like back then, I used to love Fridays and hate Mondays. Now I don't. It doesn't matter what day it is anymore. I'm
Yeah.
kind of always doing something. But what about you? You work shitty job?
Oh man, I've had a couple handfuls of shitty jobs. I've had a few of those moments too in different situations. I mean, any of those jobs I settled for, whether I wasn't happy, I kind of knew going in and while I was there that it wasn't a permanent stop. So so when you were in college the first time, I went first year and then I left
Mm-hmm.
and I took the summer job at the box factory, and I was there for a little while. I don't know, maybe like a year or something. A little bit on and off, and then just on shifts, I'd just be thinking about all the other shit I could be doing, and just realize what was happening with everything else. Cause like when I go to one of those jobs, there's the social aspect of it where people are starting to click up and the gossip and shit starts, and I want to avoid all that. Like I don't want any part of it.
Yeah.
I just realized that literally anytime I was on break and I'm just sitting there like trying to eat my lunch or just be to myself, all I'm hearing is shit being said about whatever other employee's not there to defend themselves.
Every time. Oh, for sure.
Every time, and I'm just like, I'm trying to tune it out, and then people are like trying to drag me into it. I'm like, leave me out of it. I don't give a shit. And then just I don't know. It was just a repeat of the same shit. It was like if you've ever played a video game and there was like one mission you didn't like. You're like, I gotta drag this one out. Like, I don't know, you play Grand Theft Auto Vice City and you're doing that fucking one with the little toy airplanes or whatever. That monotonous shit. Imagine doing that over and over and over again. Like, it's the same thing every day. And, like, it got to a point I didn't know what day of the week it was. And I was just kind of, whenever Friday comes, I guess I'll be excited when that's over. But then, one thing being at a job you don't like sucks. Carpooling to a job you don't like really fucking sucks, and I was doing that too, as you know. Getting up, I'm not a morning person, so getting up early in the morning to go do something I didn't want to do was already like
it's rough.
Double fuck you every day.
Yeah, I was there too. Yeah,
depending on somebody else for a ride to and from was painful. I mean, he was a great guy, like he was cool and everything, but I just didn't want to do it, and then. I don't know, man. It just felt like the same thing every day, and I kept thinking about all the other shit I could have been doing. And then I eventually leave, and then I attempted school again, didn't like that, left again, and then ended up working security for a family friend who owned a trucking company. And that was okay.
Wait, what'd you go to school for a second time?
Development service worker for like a week, and I just didn't like anything about where the program was going. So I was like, this isn't for me. So then I ended up. No, I was at Harvey's for a bit. I'm getting my timeline all fucked up here. I was at Harvey's for a bit, where I met the Queen, and then that ended up falling through. And then I was just not doing anything for a while. And then
that happens.
Some little bullshit here and there, and then I ended up working security for the family friend's trucking company. I think I was there for I don't know, maybe a year, maybe a little less than a year. And it was overnight, and I was basically just like watching the trucks and checking in with people come in and out, and like it was fine. And I got to like listen to sports radio and shit the whole night, and that's my shit, right? So I realized I was like on the outside arguing with the radio host because I was like listening to some of the takes. It's like, you guys have to, like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This doesn't make sense. So I'm just sitting there in my car just mad at the radio host, thinking like I could be doing this way better than some of these guys are and whatever else. But more importantly, I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So that was one of the big things.
So like an eye opener?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of way. Did you think of it before that though? Like when you were a kid, were you like, I'd like to do this, or was it just not even a thought?
A bit, yeah. Not radio specifically, but like calling the games and stuff. Because I would listen to, like, grew up on like Kevin Harlan and, eventually Matt and Jack and Mike Breen and all that. And I'd hear these like iconic voices at this point. And I'm thinking I like the idea of having that kind of a presence, or at least, working my way up to that standard. And some of the guys, the different personalities they had and the way they deal with the game, and it just seemed like they were having so much fun and being in like the best seats possible for a basketball game. So it was that. So it's like if I wasn't gonna be playing, I might as well be talking about it.
Yeah.
Because again, from too short, white, injury prone, and just didn't develop enough to really hack it in any sort of serious basketball. So I might as well talk about it because I know the game. So yeah, for the longest time there was that, and then it came down to one point where I was at a janitor job, and the Queen and I were having this conversation. We came to the decision that I should go to school for it. Should go to school for broadcasting. That's how I ended up here. But it was kind of like, she kind of gave me the swift kick in the ass I actually needed, because I kept thinking like, nah, I'm not doing this forever. Let me go do that. Like eventually I'll do this, but then kind of needed that swift kick in the ass to finally make the decision to go.
Just putting it off. Yeah.
Just kept putting it off. Like I knew I wanted to do it.
Because it's scary. It's like you're taking a bit of a risk, right?
Yeah.
So that's why most people don't want to do this shit. It's a risk, but I promise you, if you've seen regret in someone's eyes who's older and can't do anything about it anymore, that's way scarier than any fucking risk you take in choosing what you want to do. Regret is you can't do anything. It's over.
It's a couple. It's a couple things, right? Because like I'm in a situation. Everybody's got different situations with relationships
100%.
And family and what they want and whatever. Like there's a few things I always knew I wanted to do. I wanted to get married and have kids and be a dad. And I want all that.
Yeah.
I've always wanted all that. But there's that side of it, and I can understand where if you're already going into that situation, like say you knock somebody up young, you got to go get a job and do what you got to do. It is what it is.
I get that, yeah.
But that's not to say that you can't still take that leap and figure it out.
No, it's just going to be a longer path. It might just be a longer path if you got a kid. Yeah. That's all.
But for me, it was like now I'm in this long-term relationship, and I want to build all these things, but I still have this window of opportunity where I can go to school and build it up and take that leap, and I have a little bit of time to turn it into something, as opposed to like I don't have to just immediately produce something right away, because I'm not like I'm under some pressure, but I'm not under an absurd amount of pressure where I can't,
Yeah.
So it was kind of, the timing was about as good as it could be, aside from me putting everything off for so long already. But I mean, seems like it's heading in the right path so far.
Yeah, it will. As long as
one more fucking year of school. That, and the other thing was with the pod specifically. You and I were talking about this for a few years before we finally buckled down and did it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it was that too. Was like we didn't really know exactly how to put it together going in.
No,
like we kept
not
saying,
at all.
"Oh man, this would be like this is what we should do. This is what we should focus on."
And in hindsight, we should have started it sooner. But
yeah,
I don't know.
But I mean, how many people build something and say that same thing? Like it is what it is.
But yeah, we could have quit early too if we didn't do it when we did or something. You never know what could have happened. You never know.
Like maybe we do one pod and we don't like how it sounds. We're like, yeah, fuck this shit.
That's another thing too. Like you never know what's good or bad in the moment. Like the guy I was talking to the other day about, he's like, oh, everything happens for a reason. And I'm like, yeah, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Like what if you wake up from a coma and you're greeted by like a very optimistic nurse and she's like, oh, you enjoy your nap? Let me bring you up to speed. Your whole family died last week in a car crash that you were part of, and now you're paralyzed. I don't think that happens for a reason. But what I can say is you don't know what's good or bad. You don't know in the moment, even though you're in a lot of pain or confusion or whatever. You don't know what event that happens, or what thing that changes your life, or what path you take. You never know what's good or bad until later on. Like that's for sure. I don't know how you feel about that.
I don't necessarily think about it like everything happens for a reason. Yeah, I feel like most things happen for a reason, but yeah.
I think some happen for a reason for sure, but I don't think everything. Like people die all the time that don't have to die. Like I don't see that. I don't I can't wrap my head around why that would happen. Like, I don't see the good part in that happening, but
Yeah.
I think some stuff does for sure. But I like to cling on to like more of like, you don't know what's good or bad kind of thing.
So it's two things. It's two kind of principles of life, or however you want to say it, that I kind of carry to everything. Is first off, it's control what you can control, but learn to accept what you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's some shit that you're not gonna be able to do anything about, but you've got to
Definitely
figure out how to adjust to it. And then the things that you can control, like you're in the driver's seat for a lot of things in your life, and it's up to you to make a lot of decisions that directly impact you and the people around you, and you have to be the one to do that instead of just like blaming everything and everybody else around you for things not going exactly how you want it to. The other thing is, I mean, a lot of people definitely go into life in this sense, but preparing or thinking about whenever you're going into anything, whenever something in your life, something significant is about to happen, preparing for the absolute worst case scenario.
That helps.
And like really giving yourself a sense of how you're going to adjust to it. Because it's, first off, if it does really go that bad, at least you're ready for it. Yeah, it sucks, but at least you know what you can do to get through that. But then 99% of the time, things don't go to the absolute worst case scenario. So it's like you are prepared for something so much worse than what it actually is. So not only are you ready for it and are able to handle it, but you're relieved because it's like, okay, it wasn't so bad. Like, for example, if you're at your job and, you think you're about to get fired for whatever reason, and you've got like 10 minutes before your meeting with the boss calls you into the office, and you have a second to think about, like, okay, if I'm fired, let me think about what my other options are. I can go look for another job. I've got enough to make my bills for this month. I've got a few weeks to find another job, and so be it, whatever. But then maybe you go into that meeting, they're like, hey, they just ask you to take a couple extra shifts or something like that. Like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it ends up going that way, but then you're prepared, and then you just think to yourself, okay, well, it didn't go that way.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. You're prepared for the worst, and it's just like, oh shit, that wasn't bad at all. Another thing is when you're in it, that's preparing. But when you're in it, another thing is just like learning to change your perspective. Like the amount of people who have complained to me about, oh, they were going to do this, this, and this, but COVID happened. Like, if no one you knew died, you're doing fine. Like, you're good. Like, you should be thankful for that. Like, if none of your loved ones died, like, that's a win right there. Like, who cares what you could have done? Who cares what job opportunity you had? Like, change your perspective. Like, if COVID happened 3 months earlier, Kobe would still be alive. Like, that's fact. His daughter wouldn't have had a basketball game. Like, just change your perspective sometimes and be like, well, my life's not that bad. This isn't that big of a risk. This isn't killing me that much.
But the other thing is, even if somebody close to you did die, like, that's not going to stop you from doing something. If anything, that should open your eyes up even more. Like,
it can. It can. It depends where you are in your life. But yeah, it definitely can be like, holy fuck, that could propel you to do something. Like, pain is a good teacher. It definitely is. Yeah. It provides understanding to things you might not see at the time or beforehand, or things you're grappling with. Like, whenever I think about like taking one of these, like a risk or whatever, I always relate it to fucking that scene in Superbad where Fogel is about to go inside the LCBO, but he starts panicking. And I think a lot of people are at this point, but he starts panicking. He's like, what if they know I'm not 21? Like, what if blah, blah, blah. And Jonah Hill is just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, then we're in the exact situation we're in right now. Like, big whoop.
I should have worn the vest. Calm down. No.
What the fuck are you doing?
What if I go in there and they turn me down, man?
Then we're in the same exact place that we're in right now.
Who cares? It's fucking humiliating.
And I think that's what a lot of people do. They get to this point and they freak the fuck out when the worst that's going to happen is they're right back where they are before they started. Like, it's not that big a deal. Just try it. If you fail, you fail. But as long as you're obsessed with the journey, too, and not even the end goal, you probably won't fail. Like, let's just be honest. You're probably not going to fail.
That should be the case if you're doing something you want to do anyway. Like, you're constantly thinking about this thing, like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like, this, I know I would enjoy doing this. I know if I can turn this into a career, or I can turn this into a long-term thing, whatever that may mean, I'm going to enjoy every second of it.
Yeah.
So why would you not, why would you not be willing to commit to that? Is
I don't know.
kind
Fear,
of the point
man.
I'm getting at here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. I don't know what it is. I think it's the uncertainty. A lot of jobs people want to do, like, I guess mine in your case, there's no, part of it is there's no structure. It's not like doctor, lawyer, plumber, where you go to school, get this, you get this. The things we're chasing are kind of different. You kind of don't know where you're going. You take this.
I feel like you kind of create your own structure.
Well, that's exactly what you do. Yeah, but like people aren't ready. They don't want that uncertainty. I guess they'd rather have a structure and be less happy than make their own.
The other thing is this kind of a stigma that goes along with it, like not so much podcasting, but like anybody that's doing anything on the internet, like all these YouTube stars and these like the people that come from Vine and all this other stuff. There's a stigma that comes with it that they're just fucking around on the internet and just got famous for no reason. And with some of them, that probably is the case.
For sure.
There's a lot of them that put together a schedule and committed to something and built their way up and are putting a lot of work in and have earned their way up, right? Like they just go with what they see on the videos or whatever else. Like, I mean, our shit's structured a little bit differently. You can pretty well tell what's going on, but especially with like the Instagram or like the internet famous people that are doing these little short skits, and we're like, there's stuff that goes into that. Those videos have to be edited, and like
it's work.
They have to invest the time into doing it and whatever, and a lot of times invest money into what they're doing, and you know, it
is work. It's 100% work. It's
just different.
It's more work.
It's just different.
It's
work.
arguably more. It's not arguably. It's definitely more work. I'm working way harder than I did at plumbing. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah.
But you look at that as a hard job, and this is like whatever. But like, we're working way harder at this than I would be at a 9-to-5 job. It's not even because it never stops.
It takes up a lot more time than people realize. It's not just one steady. I mean, it could be if we really wanted it to be, but that wouldn't make much sense in the way that we do it. Like, I mean, for us to just go, okay, we're just gonna work from 9 to 5 each day, then things are gonna get in the way of it. It just wouldn't work.
No,
like it has to be okay. Like we have days that we choose to record a pod and whatever else, and then we have time to edit in between that and whatever else. It's just, I don't know if it's more or less. It really depends on what you're doing, whether it's more or less work, but it's just different. Whereas with a lot of the regular jobs, the 9-to-5 jobs, a lot of it is most employees figure out what is the bare minimum that they can get away with doing and still get paid and not get fired.
Right.
Whereas we can't really do that, because if we're just trying to do the bare minimum, then
that doesn't work in this.
Nobody's gonna watch and whatever. Like we could be doing the utmost of what we're doing, and people still might not watch.
For sure.
We do what we can and hope that it fucking works. It's just different. It's a different line of work.
The people doing the bare minimum are just people not interested in what they're doing. Like, it's like school. Like, people who don't do good in school, it's just because they're not interested. It's not because they're dumb. They just don't care. Like, it's not captivating to them. You just got to find that thing that you're willing to put all these hours in. And that's probably the thing you'll be somewhat successful in. It's just, what are you willing? It's like the Notebook scene. What do you want? What do you want?
You stop thinking about what everyone wants. Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want? What do you want?
I just need a sound check.
What do you want?
Just a sound check would be great. Just a level on you. One.
What do you want?
Fuck what your parents want, what your kids want. What do you want? Yeah, it's the same thing, man. Like, are you really? If you do want just the dollar amount, is that all? If that is all you truly care about, then you'll be fine. You can find some job where you can get that amount. But if you want something else that'll I don't know. I feel like there's like a void I have to fill, and I knew if I sold what I care about, or did what I did not want to do just for a truck and a house, I knew I would regret it. Like, I knew immediately I would regret it, and I'm lucky for that, because once I had the house and truck, it would have been a lot harder to take that step back, which some people are there now, but I knew I would regret it because it's not It's not what I want. But like, if you do love just the paycheck, then yeah, you can just chase the paycheck. But it's gonna come with some repercussions down the line if you don't actually love what you're doing and you're just doing it for a paycheck. Down the line at some point, like, yeah, the house is going to be cool for a week that you bought a house. The truck's going to be cool for a day. But at some point, it's going to be like, I still feel like shit. Why do I still feel like shit? And it's because you're doing some shit you don't like to do. It's simple.
And you're not doing it for your own happiness, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you keep going back to the point about trucks. Like, somebody goes and buys a big ass truck. That's like a status symbol thing where it's like I need everyone else to see around me that I'm doing well. Like, there's a lot of different examples of that. Like somebody blowing all their money on a car when they're just like a fucking plumber or whatever the case may be, just to like, because they want people to believe, especially in today's day and age with how social media has impacted everybody's fucking self-esteem, but like,
Yeah.
they feel like they have to overcompensate in different ways to convince people that they're doing much better than they really are. Because then at least the outside insecurity is.
But that's not going to make you feel better.
Kind of pleased for the time being.
It's not going to make you feel better
it
at
worse.
all. Yeah, it's going to be worse because now you have to fucking uphold this image, so you can't leave your job that you have that bought you all this stuff that you're fronting on Instagram. So now you're really fucked.
But then you're just
It's going to be even worse.
Then you run into this situation where, first of all, you're basically lying to everybody about your life and how well you're doing, and then you might be that guy that's flexing on the fucking internet with money that you owe to other people.
Yeah.
Know a few of those.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
It comes down to a lot of stuff for me. Just comes down to like fear of judgment. Just like we've talked about this before, but like people hate being judged. Once you could eliminate that, opens a lot of shit up. A lot of anxiety goes out the window. A lot of shit gets better. Your relationships get better. A lot of stuff gets better. You can just let that shit go. No one's, because you always think like, oh my god, they're looking at me because I'm doing, like, no one even cares. Like, you always, like in high school, you think everyone's looking at you or whatever. They kind of are in high school, but after that, everyone's got their own shit. Like, they're not worried about you. You think everyone's looking at you a certain way. You got a zit on your face or whatever. Everyone's got their own zit going on. No one has time to look at your shit. But you really care that much about what other people think. But in reality, no one gives a fuck. They got their own shit going on.
They don't prioritize things properly and get so caught up in that, and then because they're so caught up in that, they don't really figure out how to actually manage their life. Like, they don't figure out how to budget and how to manage their funds and what they need to build and invest in, or like, what they really want to do and what they need to do to actually get it. As simple as that sounds, a lot of people don't actually figure that out.
That's true. And that is hard.
I get so caught up.
That can be hard depending on what you want. It can be a hard task. But there's always a way.
It can be if you don't get ahead of it.
Just learn. Yeah, you can learn it. You can learn how to budget. You can learn what you need to get where you want to go, kind of thing, for the most part. Or just keep trying.
Yeah.
Keep trying different shit. Don't keep doing the same shit. I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't know, man. Just regret is fucking brutal. Just don't regret it.
As much as I don't want to make excuses for people, because this is exactly the point we're trying to make, but it would be really good if schools and education systems would start to gear towards real life shit. I mean, teach what you teach now, but then there should start to expand some of the classes to how to actually manage your funds, and most schools have gotten rid of home ec, and I don't understand why. It's
I don't know.
Why would you not still teach that?
I don't know.
Some people don't know how to cook and don't learn unless they're taught. Some people just grow up stupid because of shitty parenting and just are in a toxic environment and just never figure shit out. But at least if you're not parented particularly well, at least you could be taught well by
someone else,
some teachers, and learn some shit that's actually going to apply to your life. But yeah, going back to the other point, the biggest thing for me, me personally, and the job and the career and whatever else, I'm a moody enough person as it is.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be at a point where I'm just settling for some job and then I'm coming home to my wife and kids and I'm taking my day out on them.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just, it doesn't make any sense for me to carry my, I hate my job, I hate my boss, whatever else, and then just come home and just have this dark cloud hanging over when,
It's brutal.
when my babies are just excited for me to come home, or my wife's just looking forward to me coming
And
home.
it
so
and
we
it
can,
happens.
just do the
And
family
you don't
shit.
think it'll happen to you, but it happened to me. I was starting to become an asshole to people, and it's because I was settling for something I didn't want to do. I saw the whole thing. I saw it getting worse. It was gonna be a bad road, and it was just because I was fixated on that money, and nothing else mattered. And that's the worst thing, man. What?
It's just not fair to the people around
It's
you.
not. The money will follow. The money will come. You can always make money tomorrow. And yeah, here's the other thing. If you do pick something that's risky, you can always and it fails, you can always get another job the next week. You can.
If anything,
You can.
even if it does fail the first time, don't just bail on that and then set up for some bullshit now. Just think, okay, I got to take some baby steps.
That too,
so
yeah.
reduce what you're doing and then just, get a part-time job or do what you got to do work-wise to keep paying your bills, but continue to build on it.
Yeah, like what are you guys doing? Say you have a job because you have to support your kids. What are you doing from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m.? Like what, 2K and fucking Instagram and fucking YouTube? Like you could be, that's a lot of time you could be doing that side hustle to try to get where you actually want to go. It's a lot of time wasted. If that's if that's what you're complaining about, like yeah, there's a way. There's always a fucking way.
Especially if you're still relatively young, like even your early 30s is still young enough that you can make some changes. But like, even if you're not at the point, you just change your approach a little bit. Like just take baby steps, but you're still building towards something.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're still building on what you want to do. So like, there's nothing wrong with that. Just find balance.
Yep. Yeah. My 2 words of advice, or my 2 points that I somehow relate to everything that I found out. I think it was through like work, like just getting healthier way back in the day. Like I wrote these like 2 things down that I guess worked for me. It was like stay motivated at what you want to do, whether that's watching some one video every day that makes you motivated, or some phrase or some song or whatever. That's number 1. Just stay motivated at all costs to get where you actually want to go. And then number 2, fall in love with the process. If you do those 2 things in anything, you'll be golden.
Yeah,
You'll be golden.
That's pretty much on fucking point, man. I don't.
And we're still climbing, but I think that's the other thing. Like people are gonna judge us because we don't have the money to back up. Like people only like to listen to people who've done it or have the money or whatever. I get that, but also you should be chasing the freedom. Like money is a tool to get you freedom in some way, whether that's like a inside freedom or a financial freedom, whatever it is. But like money's just a tool to get you there. Don't make money the end goal, or you're gonna be miserable forever.
Yeah. The other thing is like I don't know if you should really even base your point of view on that. Like it's more like the people that listen to the pod or whatever. It depends on the reason that you actually listen to it. Like for us, it's just we kind of pride ourselves in just talking real shit. Like just kind of sharing our perspectives on whatever's happening and telling stories and whatever. Like it's just whether you're into whatever everybody else is doing, you're just you're just following trends or whatever. Like if that's what you're into, then whatever. Then take those people and use that as motivation to see like, okay, I what did they do to make this work?
Yeah.
And how can I make my version work? Or if you're more on the side of, what we do, where you just want to hook up a mic and a camera and just have a conversation and just talk about life shit. Like, okay, why do I like what they do, and how do I make my own version of this work? Whatever it is, you just need to evaluate how you can make your version of that work your way.
Yeah, for sure.
And stick to it, and not just, try to take shortcuts. And
There's
and
always going to be opportunities to
bullshit.
take shortcuts, but are they meeting your values? Are they meeting your goals, kind of thing? Or is that, again, just a shortcut to the money?
Yeah, I mean, you could be, I'm going to compare it to basketball again, and I know people are going to roll their eyes, but think about, do you want to go the Kevin Durant route where you get a bunch of good stats or whatever and you should be the man or whatever, but then you just go onto a stacked team and get a couple rings and now you can say, oh, look, I'm a champion. I won. You can't say anything to me now. But then, I mean, he's even admitted that his championships don't carry the same satisfaction
merit,
that he thought they would, as if it's not obvious.
Because he did it because of what everyone else thought of him. That's why he did it. You're not a champion. You're not a champion. Even though he's clearly the best player in the league, if top 3 at least. He was clearly one of the best players in the league, but he just cared about everyone else was saying championship, so he settled for that instead of doing it his own way. I think he regrets it a little bit, for sure.
Of course he does. He's not gonna admit it until probably his career's over, but still. But then you could go, the Dirk Nowitzki route where it's like, you kind of had to work your way up and you didn't pile on teams or whatever else. And you went through a lot of shit. You got to the finals and lost, and you were kind of getting labeled as this guy like couldn't get it done, and then you finally get it, and it's just this unbelievable level of satisfaction. But also you get to look back on what you went through, and it's like, okay, I remember this point. Like I remember how much this sucked and this and whatever. But like all of this led up to this unfucking believable moment in my life, and I have that forever.
If
now.
you look at Lowry's reaction to his championship versus Durant's, you can let that be a life lesson right there. Just let it be a life lesson. That's it. And I know a lot of people along the way are gonna make you try to do what Durant did, but you gotta tune them out. I don't care if it's your girlfriend, your best friends, your fucking parents. If you literally have a dream to do something, you gotta tune everyone the fuck out. It's like Patrice O'Neal said when he's like, he compares chasing kind of what you would love to do with having an actual dream, and you wake up from the dream and you try to explain to people the dream you had, and they're like, what, like unicorns, and then what happened? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's like the same thing. It's like you're trying to do something that's not going to make sense to a lot of people until you kind of get where you're trying to go, and then everyone will fucking jump on the bandwagon, so to speak.
And you're the only one that's going to see it exactly your way. And you got to understand, like, when it's going to be uncomfortable on the way up. It's, like wearing exactly what you want to wear to school, even though it's not, exactly. Some people might look at you crazy because you picked out a shirt that you like that looks weird to everybody else. Like it's something like that. Like it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable,
sure.
but then you'll look back and think like, yeah, that was, it was.
And you're going to go through every emotion to get there, I'm sure. But yeah, just don't quit. Figure out a way. There's always a way. Figure out a way. Tune everyone the fuck out if they're getting in the way. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals. That'll help.
Also have realistic expectations. I mean,
you got to start there. That's number one. You got to be self-aware. Exactly.
Yeah, some people just aren't big enough for porn. It is.
That might have been my downfall.
Okay.
I didn't want to say that live, but that might have been one of my problems. I don't know.
Yeah.
My fluffer's name was Doug. That definitely didn't help.
Wow.
Okay,
Nice.
I was at a. Let's wrap up that part. So yeah, any last words for that segment? Called
Nah, I think we've rambled on enough about
Do
it.
What You Want. Stop being a
And
pussy.
it's okay to be uncomfortable while you're doing it.
For sure.
It'll feel that much better when you get to that.
Absolutely.
point.
I was at a coffee shop. I start every other podcast story with I was at a pub. No, I was just thinking the other day, like I was getting a coffee and whenever they yell out decaf, everyone looks at the person getting the decaf, and I think everyone else who likes caffeine's just like, look at this fucking pussy. It's kind of like when someone, it's kind of like someone drinking non-alcoholic beer at a party or something. You just get judged so hard, and I just noticed it the other day with decaf coffee. How everyone's just like, gee, you're a pussy, dude. You want to come for a ride? Come for a ride. Get hyper. Get hopped up. Get hopped up. I'm also a caffeine addict, so I can't say anything.
I know nothing about that fucking life, man. And
Yesterday,
I'm pretty.
I had a
okay.
headache all day yesterday. and I couldn't wake up. I was like, this is the worst day. I don't know what's going on. And then at like 8:30 at night, I realized I didn't have like any caffeine yesterday, and I'm like, oh, this is why.
You're a fucking addict.
Worst headache ever. No, because the past 2-3 weeks, I've like been going nonstop. We've been working on the movie stuff. We've been working on pods. I've been working at this gym like crazy because I'm like the only one there now. It was just I needed like 2 a day, and then yesterday I finally had a chance to chill, and like it destroyed me. Not caffeine, no caffeine, just killed me. But I'm back at it today, and boy does it feel good.
So when caffeine isn't enough and you're like railing 8 balls of Coke every pod, that
might
is
happen.
that the point where we draw the line?
That might be.
So we got to start going back and taking baby steps again.
That's when I call Artie Lang up, and I need some life advice from Artie Lang.
How do you become a successful functioning addict?
No, if I take 3 days off it, I'm good. Like 3 days is usually what I need to get.
3 days off Coke?
No, off caffeine. I don't know how long you need off Coke. That's probably. I heard Coke's really fun for the first year of your life, and then it ruins your fucking life. 1 year though is really good. First year.
Well, yeah, that's why so many people get fucking hooked on it.
Yeah, first year is great apparently,
That's
and then that's rough.
Then you're taking over the stock market and
Yeah, you're
getting
mortgage in
portrayed
your
by
house.
Leo DiCaprio and yeah.
Have you seen the Netflix movie? It's been on for a long time, but I just watched it the other day. It's a documentary about when Jim Carrey played Andy Kaufman.
What's it called? Man on the Moon?
That's the movie, but this is like behind. It was kind of they did behind the scenes filming because Jim Carrey was just so in character and wouldn't get out of it. Like he wouldn't get out of it. Like he just stayed in this Kaufman character every second of the day, and it was like no one knew how to handle him because Andy Kaufman was a bit of a fucking lunatic, and Jim. But watch the documentary. It's wild. Jim was like convinced that like Andy like took over his body and shit. Like it's fucking wild. It's
fucking method acting,
wild. And I don't think he was ever the same. I don't think he was ever the same after that. But there's a.
Think he went into the shit abyss?
A little bit, but there was also some good life advice in that we just talked about too. Some good crossroads there, if you will, of what we just talked about for half an hour and in that documentary. It's pretty good. He kind of says like, if you like his dad apparently was a really good musician or some shit I found out, and he didn't pursue it at all, so he was just a kind of a regret and kind of a dick sometimes, and Jim went on to do, reach the top level of everything, and he's just he was kind of just preaching the same shit we did, so it aligns. It's a good watch.
Yeah, everybody that's made something of themselves doing what they want to do says the exact same thing.
Always. There's always the same thing.
And I feel like people just roll their eyes on it like, oh, yeah, believe in yourself, do what you want to do. Blah,
every
blah,
time.
Commit to it. And then end up, not doing fucking anything.
And they're holy shit.
And being miserable.
And the ones that do it and listen to those words, I guess, or encouragement, they do it and they're like, holy fuck. It was literally that.
Yeah. Jim Carrey's a fucking real one. Him and Jerry Lewis are a lot of the same way. Like I'm big. I mean, I know Jerry Lewis is way back, and probably vast majority of people listening to this probably have no idea who I'm even talking about. But a lot of the same things. But I mean, definitely not as kooky as Jim Carrey, but one of the greatest comedians ever, and just had a real authentic approach to everything. Would use the opportunities at work to fuck with people. Like there was one interview I was listening to the other day where he was directing a film, or somebody else was directing a film. I don't remember what it was, but they wanted him to like completely change around the timeline of the film, whatever. Like we don't like the pace of it, blah blah blah. Like just being a direct hater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where just make this change because I said make it, and he's like, it fucking looks fine. So he literally just cut it differently and like switched like one or two things, and then they said they loved how it was or whatever. Like he just did a little bit to fuck with them. I don't know, just little shit.
Yeah, sometimes directors get in that, or directors or bosses in general in any job. They get in that zone where they just think they have to do something.
Yeah, they gotta whip their hog
So
out.
they just do it, and you're like, no one else knows why. And sometimes maybe it is for the good, because maybe when everything's done, they're like, oh, that's why. But I think most of the time it's just like, no, like why? Like what? You're just whipping your dick out. Like what are you doing? It was fine.
Yeah.
We're all working fine. What are you doing? I guess it's that. I guess that's kind of why cops end up shooting black people for no reason too.
Wow. How's that? How's that for a fucking curveball? I mean,
Fucking pigs. No. Let's hope that gets better. No. Gee, it was
been
just
saying that. We've been saying that for a few years now, man.
sure.
And I mean, it looks like the things a lot of us are doing to make those changes look really good. It just needs to. I mean, we've been over this time and time again. It needs to be a permanent thing. It can't just be like a trendy, you know. People can't just be walking around in Black Lives Matter t-shirts for a few months and then all of a sudden we're not talking about it anymore. Because that's
Yeah.
not going to change anything.
And that kind of ties in. If there's a reason, like I'm thinking of systemic racism now, and what we said earlier. But if you have a job you don't like, just get a new one. And I think that is harder for some people than others, for sure. But that should make you want to. If there's anything like holding you back in a way, or someone holding you back, or people doubting you, that should make you want to do it more. You know what I mean? Like, so you can
Take control.
You can spit in their fucking faces when you finally, like, when they doubt you for so long, and kind of, I guess you make it, whatever make it is.
Yeah.
Make it to me is just getting up to a place where you can, you know, financially afford to live doing what you love, I guess. That'd be make it. There's no
Yeah.
number on it. There's no job title on it. So, yeah.
I'll have a better idea of that, you know, a few years for us down the line, whatever this turns into. Then I'll be able to gauge. I'm not thinking about it as I want this to reach a certain amount of, you know, viewers.
I don't have a
or
number, no.
Make a certain amount of money off it or whatever. I want to get to a point, you know, a couple years down the line where I look back and go, okay, we build this up to a point where I'm happy with it now?
Yeah.
Because as of right now, it's just the come up that I'm enjoying.
It's the best part. So I'm told.
Anything else you want to get into before we fuck off stage left?
No, tune into Full Court Bresh on Tuesday, where we discuss
Yes, sir.
the demise of the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah. I wasn't going to bring it up, but
And subscribe on YouTube,
yeah, man. Like, sub, all that
Bresh Crew
good shit.
TV, Bresh Crew Pod,
Yeah.
all
The
platforms.
one and fucking only, man. The one and only. You know what? Since we're on the begging segment, I'm gonna just be all the way candid. I know a lot of people that sub or a lot of people that watch these videos. These are some long ass pods. I get it. If you're not sitting through the whole thing, understandable. Pick up where you left off and watch it later. Do what you gotta do. Use this background noise. Just hit the fucking like. Just do it. Just do it.
Just hit the like. Just do it.
Just do it. Come on. Come
We'll
on.
hit your like
Put
button.
pressure.
We'll hit your like button,
Yeah.
dude.
I like the fuck out of your like button.
I'll get Doug to come suck on your fucking like button.
All right, man. Well, on that note, this has been another illustrious episode of the one and only Bresh Crew Podcast. On behalf of my partner in crime and co-host, Dilly Bars Grant, I am Marc Wynn Sr., signing the fuck off. Appreciate y'all, man. Eat a dick and have a good one.
What up, Pat? You still doing your little rap gig? You know that, yo, my name is Pat thing. Yep, damn right I am. You still stuck in that office, laboring for the man? Damn. Sorry to hear that. 8 years school, wish you could get all of them years back. Hate your job, but I get it. It's secure, sure, you want stability. But you sold yourself short, it's cool though. But you know, that ain't what you want to do, bro. Was a hoop star, could have made it big, but you chose the safe route though. You see, we all live life forward, but only understand it backwards. And I refuse to live in regret like you, wondering what I could have been after, they say. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. But you'll never reach that pinnacle if you don't take risks, bro. You'll never know if you never leap. I carry that mentally. Don't die when you're 25 and get buried at 70. It's a fine line between being happy and settling. A wedding ring's huge, but her and the man don't have any chemistry. Just not compatible mentally. If anything, they're practically enemies. They slept together in like 8 months. Oh, but sex isn't everything, right? Sure. Behind closed doors, you're home flicking the bean to vicious extreme gangbang porn. Like, shut the fuck up. Ain't fooling no one, girl. You miserable. You're gonna die blue like a swimming pool they got pissed into. Don't even find them attractive. Looks good on paper though, right? 'Cause money is happiness, says Robin Williams as he takes his own life. Shit, he was probably happier when he barely had anything. Yo, I promise that man in the mirror's the enemy. I live by words that a wise man once said to me. Don't die at 25 and get buried at 70.
Thanks for watching. Since you're here, why not take the time to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell. Also check out Bresh Crew on Spotify, Spreaker, TikTok, and Instagram. And that's all I got.